All right, welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something you experience every single time you shop. It's this hidden value that's baked into every transaction, and once you see it, you'll see it everywhere.
You totally know this feeling, right? You've got a number in your head for what you're willing to spend on something. Maybe it's a new video game, maybe it's a concert ticket, and then you find it for way less. It feels like a total win, a little victory for your wallet.
Well, turns out that awesome feeling of getting a bargain actually has a name in economics. It's called consumer surplus, and it's one of the most important ideas for understanding how markets really work for us, the buyers.
So let's dive in and really decode this idea. We're going to start with the buyer side of things, your side of the story.
So what is it exactly? Well, the official definition is right here, but in plain English, consumer surplus is basically the extra value you get for free. It's the gap between the absolute most you were ready to pay and what the price tag actually said.
Let's make this super clear with an example. Imagine the biggest soccer match of the year's on, the FA Cup final. You are a huge fan and you've just got to be there. You've thought about it and you've told yourself, okay, the absolute maximum I'd pay for a ticket is £50. That's your line in the sand. A penny more and you're watching it from home. But hey, it's your lucky day. You go online and you find tickets selling for the standard market price, just £40. You buy it in a heartbeat, no question. And that right there, that £10 difference between what you were willing to pay and what you did pay, that's it. That's your consumer surplus. It's your personal economic win from that one purchase. Now, economists take this idea and apply it to an entire market. They use a simple demand graph. The total consumer surplus for everybody buying a product is the area of that triangle, all the space below what people were willing to pay, but above the price they actually paid. The bigger that area, the more value consumers are getting. But of course, every transaction is a two-way street. While we're all out there looking for a great deal, the sellers are looking for a win of their own. So let's flip the script and look at their side of the story. And this brings us to producer surplus. It's pretty much the mirror image of what we just talked about. But this time, it's all about the benefit the seller gets. So just like we had a maximum we'd pay, producers have a minimum they'll accept. Producer surplus is the difference between the price they get in the market and that absolute bottom dollar price they would have been willing to sell for. Let's use another quick example. Say a company is selling a product, and the market price, what everyone's paying, is £7. That's the cash they get for every item sold. But behind the scenes, that company has done the math. They know their costs for materials, labor, everything. And they figured out that the absolute lowest they can sell it for and not lose money is £4. That's their floor. So that gap between the £7 they got and the £4 they would have settled for is £3. And that is their producer surplus for that one item. It's the extra cash, the extra win they get because the market price is higher than their minimum.
Okay, so we've got the buyer's win and the seller's win. What happens when you put them both together? Well, you get something really powerful, a way to measure the total health and value of an entire market.
You know, as the Corporate Finance Institute puts it, these aren't just numbers on a graph. They're terms used to define market wellness. They tell us just how much value is being created for everyone, buyers and sellers combined.
And what's great is that figuring out this total value, sometimes called total surplus or economic welfare, is incredibly easy. You just add the consumer surplus to the producer surplus. That's it. That number represents the total shared benefit society gets from that market.
Okay, this is all cool theory, but why should you actually care about this? Well, because this idea of surplus is absolutely crucial for understanding how real-world decisions, especially from the government, affect all of us.
Just take a look at this. When a government adds a tax, like a VAT, the price for you goes up, which shrinks your consumer surplus, and the price the seller keeps goes down, so their surplus shrinks too. A subsidy does the exact opposite. It usually grows the surplus for both sides. And things like free trade, well, they can be a mixed bag. Lower prices are great for us consumers, but they might squeeze the surplus for producers at home. And price ceilings? They're really complicated. They might help a few people who get the product cheap, but they often create shortages, which isn't good for anyone. So here's the bottom line. The next time you hear about a new tax or a trade policy, don't just think about the price change. Think about what's really happening. It's a direct transfer of well-being, of surplus, from one group to another. This is how we can see who wins and who loses from economic policy.
So, to wrap it all up, consumer surplus, that's your win as a buyer. Producer surplus, that's the seller's win. Put them together and you get total surplus, which is like a health score for the market. And, critically, government policies are constantly moving these pieces around the board, creating winners and losers.
So, I'll leave you with a question to think about. Now that you have this new lens to see the world, start looking around. When you buy your morning coffee, fill up your car, or pay that internet bill, who do you think is getting the bigger piece of the surplus pie? Is it you or is it them? The answer tells you a whole lot about how these markets really work.